Hello. In this video, we're going to move on and we're going to begin to look at a few new components that we're going to be plugging in to our breadboard here. This is what we call this white section here. I'm going to show you how this is all connected up. We've got some great components that you may have spotted inside your kits if you've bought a kit from me. The first thing we're going to do though, coming back to I've got the same setup here that I had at the end of the Pico challenge. So I've still got some buttons connected and the buzzer and an LED going into pin GP21. So I have been able to keep the top bit of code showing that I've got LED 1 going into GP21. That's my, on the right, that red cable. And button 1, again, it's another red cable and it's going into GP10. And that is my button 1. Now, as usual, at the top of my code from the Pico 0 library, I'm importing everything that I need. I import the Pico LED because I do quite like just to have that flashing to show that our code is running. And then I've imported the LED and the button. The from time import sleep is there. I normally just keep it in there because I quite often use it, even if I haven't been intending to use it. So here you can see that I have given the same names that I've used before. LED 1 and button 1 have been defined. So now this code, as it stands, I could just run this code. And it's always good, even sort of before we start, we can just make sure that we've typed everything in correctly, everything's working. And you can see that my little Pico LED is just blinking away very happily. So I know that this code is good, a good foundation. Now, what I would like to do here is I'd like to introduce you to something called a digital LED. And the functionality really, from your perspective, is exactly the same. It's just that as we begin to add more wires, more components, as we use more of the pins, the general purpose pins on the Pico, this is something which can just help to avoid a little bit of interference between the pins and help us not to run out of precious resources on the Pico. Because if you remember, we call the Pico a microcontroller. It's not a computer. It's not anywhere near as intelligent as a computer. It's not got anywhere near the same amount of resources or memory or brain power. So we want to try and keep everything as simple as possible. So what we're going to do for these LEDs which are on board here, we're just going to use them in a very simple digital on or off way. I'm not going to make them glow or fade or sort of flash at sort of half their brightness. I'm going to use these as indicators as to if they're on, that means something. I'm going to sort of program that in. If the light is on, maybe that's a warning light or that's a yes, everything's okay light. And if it's off, then nothing to report. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my LED at the top here to a digital LED. This is something which is built in to the Pico 0 library. I haven't just made it up. It's a feature which is there that we can use. So you can see I've given it a capital D for digital, and that is exactly what we need to put here now if I'm going to set up LED 1 as a digital LED. That means it can only be on or off, nowhere in the middle, a bit like the buttons. Now then, let's program button 1 so that when I push button 1 on, the LED 1 switches on, and when I release button 1, LED 1 switches off. If you've just done the Pico challenge number 1, you might be able to pause the video at this point and have a go yourself. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the property of button 1, which says when pressed, I'm going to do a thing. Now I'm actually only going to do one thing, so I'm going to write it here, LED1.on. Now you'll notice that I don't use the brackets. And normally after a function call like this, it's like, yes, go and switch on. I use the brackets. What I'm saying here is I'm not actually saying do it right now. what I'm saying is when this condition is true, when button 1 is pressed, then I want you to go and switch LED 1 on. Not right now though, only when the button is pressed. So it's not quite the same as when we say, right, go and do something right now. Now to switch it off, we use another property which is called when released. That makes sense, doesn't it? When released, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to switch it off. Okay, so again, there's no brackets anywhere here. This doesn't mean that these two lines happen in the code before the LED starts blinking. So the LED doesn't come on and off before the Pico LED starts blinking. It just means that these are there. These are telling Python, by the way, when this situation comes up, this is what you're going to do. Okay, so it's like advanced warning. So let's run the code. So I've just got my little Pico LED flashing, and that's why it's here, just to show me that I am running the code and everything's working as expected. So now I can press button 1 and I can see LED 1 has lit up, and I release it and it comes, switches off. On, off, on, off. There we go. So that is the perfect functionality for this type of button that I want a little indicator to come on to say, yep, you press that button. Excellent. You can see that even though I'm pressing that button, that is on, my Pico LED over there is still flashing away merrily. So I can press and hold that button for as long as I like. And then whenever I release it, this LED 1 switches off. Okay, so if that made sense to you, what I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to see if you could program in button 2 and LED 2, button 3 and LED 3, and button 4 and LED